Hi everyone, welcome back to Midnight Chismecito. My name is Itzel.
And my name is Stephanie.
And today we're going to be talking about, well, it's a spooky edition. So we're going to be talking about different kind of spooky topics. Like trick-or-treating, Halloween costumes, spooky experiences, so on and so forth. So, how are you feeling? How are you?
It's been like, I've been in a weird mood lately, porque, I don't know if this happens to you, but every birthday, I get excited for it, pero también I get like kind of sad about it. Cause even though I've done a lot in my life, I feel like sometimes I'm like, damn, what did I really do this year? Like, you're still in the same place that you were last year. Well, actually, last year I was going through training, I believe, around this time. And this year I'm like, I'm unemployed. I'm like, not in school. I mean, I graduated, ¿verdad? But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It just feels, sometimes it feels like my life goes in circles. And I'm like, damn, it. And then today I woke up and yesterday I had a dream about my ex. And I woke up. oh my! I woke up in like a weird mood. I was like, "Damn it! Like, what a like,
Mm.
why? Because lately,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. It's just it messed up with my head. Like, you start looking into it, and you're like, okay, what does this mean? Like, does this mean something bad? Does this mean something good? And then you start googling, like, what does it mean when you dream about your ex? And it's like it could be a million things.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you start getting in your head because it's like, oh, what if he misses me? What if he's thinking about me? What if I'm the one thinking about him? What if I miss him? Or it's like, it also says like, oh, it's about past trauma or all this crazy stuff. But
Yeah. No, I get you, cause like when you dream about someone, like it's always like, well, like I have dreams sometimes of like friends that I used to talk to, and I don't talk to anymore, and I'm like, damn, does this mean that I should apologize, or does this mean that I miss them? Like you start overthinking even if
yeah,
it's not the case, you know?
yeah, yeah, with that too, because my last best friend, I dreamt about her recently. So yeah, that got in my head too. I'm like, damn, like, was I the one that stopped communicating? Or you start thinking about like, oh, what
Yeah.
happened? What could have happened? What could happen? Should I reach out? Should I not? Like, yeah, that's
Exactly. But you
but
should definitely not reach out to your ex, just saying. Anyways.
I know. Okay, listen, I have been strong twice. Me ha pasado que casi, pero I haven't done it. I haven't done it. And I will not do it. I always think about the pros and the cons, and the cons outweigh the pros, fortunately. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, he did this to me, he did that to me, he like girl, wake up, not be like, I always try to convince
Yeah,
myself
yeah,
not to do it. But enough about me. How are you feeling?
yeah. I've been pretty good. I've been really busy because we're trying to renovate our house. Not renovate, but like
Mm-hmm.
we've been trying to clean it up and paint and all of that. And I've been focusing on like doing this, learning how to edit and stuff, and then I didn't. David recently started school,
Mm.
so it's like I've helping him. Like sometimes I'll read his essays, or like I've had to take on more of like making breakfast and stuff, because before we used to
Mm.
do it together, and now I have to make it by myself because he's reading or doing assignments. So it's been like really busy.
Oh, yeah. Is he's going to a school there or okay?
No, it's online. It's for it's like I think it's called military university,
Oh,
something
really?
like that. It's for military. It's like a university, but it's for military people. So
Yeah.
it's strictly online.
I had no idea that people from the military could go to school while they're serving and that they have like a actual military university. So that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people wait until they leave because
After,
they
yeah.
still get the, yeah, they still get the benefits. But David wants to get his bachelor's because then he can become an officer.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, that's why he's doing it now rather than later.
That's good. I was gonna say I got distracted with like the beginning, but I was gonna say I really like your makeup. It was cool.
Thank you. I like the little ghosties too.
Oh, thank you.
So cool. We
It's
should
all
start a
like
makeup channel.
no dead ass like all through Zoom. Like okay, so then.
Yes, no. Oh, also, I've been busy decorating for Halloween. We're not gonna do anything, but there's a lot of kids in our neighborhood, so we're gonna give candy, watch scary movies and stuff. What are you gonna do for Halloween?
I haven't. I actually haven't even watched a scary movie. I've been wanting to watch a scary movie, but it's just been so busy. Like, parece que no he hecho nada, pero the days, like, I get busy doing home stuff y luego aparte extra stuff. Like, I went to the Prince Royce concert last week. Estoy toda como, because me tomé como un break,
Yeah.
I guess, from the housework,
Mhm.
starting Thursday. So Thursday, I went to go see Prince Royce. Friday was my birthday. So I went out to eat. Me la pasé todo el día afuera. Because en la mañana me fui a desayunar and I took my grandma and my sister. Y pues mi otra sister estaba en la school. Y luego me estaba esperando a ver qué íbamos a hacer. Because según I wasn't sure if my parents were gonna go eat with us, like in the afternoon, because they both work and they work really late. So I was like, oh, okay, let's wait for a little, y luego ya le llamamos y a ver si llegan or what happens. So we waited a little, and we were at my grandma's house, and I called my dad, and he was already on his way. And it was about maybe 4 in the afternoon, yeah. Y dijo, and I took a nap because like I was tired. And then llegó and he gave me like a present. He gave me money or whatever. And then we went to. Oh yeah, he came and he's like, "Oh, it's really late. I don't know if you want to go out somewhere here." Because venía en su work clothes. And I'm like, "Oh no, it's okay." Like I could tell that he was tired. I'm like, "It's okay. You can go eat like something quick. Y luego ya, pues, you can like relax, you know." Y le dije a mi mom, y mi
Mhm.
mom venía en camino, pero desde San Diego, like it was gonna take a while. So I was like, oh no, it's fine. You
Mhm.
like we can all celebrate some other day. I'll just take Paola and Dayanara to go see a movie and to go eat. And I asked my grandma if she wanted to go eat, pero dijo, ay no, estoy bien llena todavía del desayuno. And she didn't want to go with us. Like she didn't feel like going. She was tired. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll just go with my
Mhm.
sisters. So we ended up going to go eat sushi at K Sushi in Imperial. Y
Mm.
luego, because I was really craving sushi. I
Yeah.
haven't eaten sushi in a while, so I was like, you know what? I want sushi. Let's go eat sushi. We're gonna go eat sushi. Then we went to go watch Halloween Ends. I'm not gonna
Ooh.
spoil it, but yeah. And then we went to go after. Ya era bien tarde. Eran como las 8, I think 9. No, eran las 10, around there. And Diana was, oh, because cuando llegamos a la mall, cuando terminamos de comer y llegamos a la mall, I was like, oh, let me just pick up my freebies, like at Ulta. Y I was gonna go everywhere else to pick it up, pero no teníamos tiempo, like the movie was gonna start, y luego de aquí que se acabara la movie, otras 2 hours, you know? So I'm like, okay, I'll just go really quick and we can go to the next función, because there was some every 30 minutes. So then we went to Ulta y me entretenía ahí, you know, like como una media hora or like an hour. And I got I got all my stuff for free because my mom always buys in Ulta and I buy them with my account, so we accumulate a bunch of points. So I just use those points, and then they gave me like a free birthday gift, and I ended up paying like $3 for like a face mask, a mask for your feet, a mask for your hands, because my hands get really dry. You can't see it through the camera, but they're like
Mhm.
crackly. And then what else
Mm.
did I get? I got a hair mask, and they gave me a little one for my birthday, and I ended up paying $3 for all that. Y luego ya de ahí nos fuimos a las movies y se hizo noche. And after Dayanara was tired, like everyone was tired, everyone as in Dayanara and Paola. And I was like, oh guys, I wanna go drink like a margarita. Cause like at least I wanna have a little drink for my birthday, you know? And they're like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
so tired. I was like, you can just stay in the car, just stay in the car. And she's like, oh, okay, fine. Y ya iban a cerrar. Eran las 10:30 y cierran las 11. And I'm like, oh, I kind of feel bad when I go y ya van a cerrar. Pero había gente todavía, so I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine, you know. We're not gonna get anything to
Mhm.
eat anyways, just a margarita and an appetizer. Entonces ya I asked Diana, I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of guilt tripped her. I'm like, damn, you can go out with your little friend all late, but not with me on my birthday. So then she was like, okay, fine. And then toda grumpy, pero se bajó conmigo. And we ordered an appetizer and my margarita, and me regalaron like a cookie thing for my birthday. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. Regresamos and we came back all late. And
Mhm.
then the next day was my tío's birthday, pero no vino. So I just chill. That day, it's a day, see, I chilled the whole day. Like, I think I watched Netflix the whole day. Like, me levanté bien tarde, I watched Netflix, me levanté tarde. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna do anything today. Because usually I'm, like, always I'm either
Mhm.
editing or, like, I'm doing something. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
cleaning the house or whatever. And I'm an introvert, so if I go out the next day, I have to chill. Like, I have to. It's too much for me. Um, and then get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday yesterday, right? Yesterday, Sunday.
No, yesterday was Monday.
So what did I do on Sunday? Oh, on Sunday le ayudamos a mover a mi grandma because she was still in the process of moving.
Mhm.
So we went over and we helped her clean up a bit. And then on Sunday, my tia came um from LA, well, close to LA. She doesn't live in LA, but from Paris, California. Y luego ya
Mhm.
le ayudamos. Todos vinieron y le ayudamos, and then we ended up eating pizzas, I think. Yeah. We ended up eating hella late porque like everybody was all busy, and we ate pizzas y como se está moviendo no habían mesas y había like one couch, so we were all like standing up eating or like sentados en el piso or like everywhere. And we're a big ass family, so can you imagine all our family just like standing around or sitting on the floor or sitting outside? Like
Yeah.
we were all divided in threes. Entonces, and there was even teníamos el perro, trajo mi prima su perro y luego estaba el goose alrededor caminando, los birds, we had a whole ass zoo in there. And the little kids, Diana's little kids, all of them were there. Y luego yesterday was my grandma's birthday. So my mom didn't end up working, my dad didn't end up working. And my tia didn't end up working, my tío. Nobody went to school or nobody worked yesterday. Cause we were still helping my grandma, like ya se tenía que haber movido. They actually give her extra days. Ya se tenía que haber movido like desde ayer. Yeah, desde ayer.
Mhm.
So nos fuimos desde la morning again. We like cleared up the last stuff that was outside. Um so we threw stuff away. We took stuff to the apartment, and then my mom brought stuff here because some of the stuff we're taking to Mexicali. It was like a lot. And then in the
Mhm.
afternoon, we ended up eating Taco Bell because we didn't no sabíamos que ya no queríamos pizza ni hamburguesa. We're like, okay, what else is there? Like we were tired of it, and we were gonna take my grandma somewhere, pero se hizo bien noche, y like we were busy moving stuff, so we ended. Sorry, this is so long. I'm trying to hurry up. And then I told my mom que. Oh, my mom told us like, oh, we can take you guys to go eat some day out, pero ahorita ya, let's go get Taco Bell. Luego fui por nieve a la Walmart. We ate cake and ice cream, y ya ahí se me fue el día.
Mhm.
So then for Halloween, since my grandma's gonna be in the new apartment, I don't think we're gonna do anything. Maybe I might just chill at my house and watch movies. Porque la Diana tiene su little friend, you know? So she might go out trick or
Mhm.
treating with him. And then Paola
Mm.
Paola goes to school. She's probably gonna go to school the next day. So va a venir tarde. I don't know. I might go with Paola and like watch a movie or something. Um, pero yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for Halloween. Sorry, that was like a long ass explanation for you.
No, that's fine.
Oh my
That's
god.
totally okay.
Yeah, that's
Right.
probably what I'm gonna end up doing.
Mhm. Yeah, something chill. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's because we're getting older, but with everything that's going on in the world and how crazy and dangerous it is, I don't really feel like going out anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that too. Especially now, and especially where we're at, like where we live, it it feels like dangerous, I don't know.
Mhm. I get you. Yeah. It is what it is, I guess, but
Yeah.
you can still have a good time at home. So,
Yeah. Do you know if your siblings are doing anything?
no, I don't know. I'm guessing they're, well, cuz my brother's already in well, my younger brother is in middle school, so I don't think they're going to want to go trick or treating anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably just watch movies, eat out, eat candy, pass out candy, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mhm.
You've already had Halloween in that house, right, or no?
Yeah, this is gonna be our second time.
Second Halloween? Oh, that's nice.
uh, we're hoping to get more kids because when we first moved in, like it was all deserted. Like
Oh,
they were still
really?
building houses, so a lot of the houses in our street, like it was 4 houses including ours, and then like a bunch of empty lots, and then like another 3 houses, and then empty lots, and like so there
Oh,
wasn't like a
okay.
lot of kids.
But this time,
Hmm.
there's probably gonna be more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
nice.
We're gonna move on to the news segment. Something really scary that kind of goes with the theme, but it was unintentional, is
Yeah.
that there was a serial killer in Stockton, California. And this happened like recently. Just they actually caught him. The police think it's him, but we don't know for sure yet until like the court happens and everything. So they caught him this past Saturday, October 15, I think it was. Yeah, October 15.
Okay.
His name, the suspect, because we still don't know if he's guilty or not, but they feel pretty strongly that he is. The suspect is Wesley Brownlee, and he is 43 years of age. And he is suspected of killing 6 people, from ages ranging from 21 years old to 54 years old. And at first, they thought he only targeted like males, especially Latino males. But then it turns out that he actually shot a 46-year-old black woman. So they have no idea what his motives were or like, what's going on. But yeah, he's gonna be facing criminal charges pretty soon, I guess.
Adding to that, the I think that he was. I saw a TikTok about the woman that she shot. She actually survived. I think it's the same one you're talking about. Que le rozó.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if. Do you know if she was homeless?
No, I didn't see that in any of the. It's because you see, the problem is I was trying to investigate it, but a lot
Mm.
of these like articles online require you to sign up
Yeah.
or to pay in order to read them. So I didn't really get a whole lot of information on her.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, since she survived, I'm guessing that she doesn't want her story, her traumatizing experience out there on the internet that much. Because
If
they didn't
it's.
even,
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, they didn't even put out her name, so I'm guessing that she doesn't want to be named,
Yeah. If it is the same one, because according to what I saw, it was all males, and it was. Sorry, my voice. I don't know why my voice. Let me drink some water. Sorry. Brief pause.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. I don't know if it's the same story. No, it's the same story, pero no sé si hacen a line what you're talking about de lo que I'm talking about. I don't know if we're talking about the same woman, but it was all men except one woman, and the woman that I saw, it was on TikTok. Y according to the TikTok that I saw, she was homeless, and she said that she's been mistaken as a as a male Hispanic many times por como se mira. So
Mm.
supposedly he did target male
Oh.
Hispanics pero I don't know if it's the same, you know?
You know what? I feel pretty certain that it is the same one, the same woman that we're talking about, because his first victim was actually a white man. But theory that I saw going around was that he kind of sort of looks Hispanic.
Yeah.
And that's why he might have the first man. So I think it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's a correlation. He already did it once with the first guy that was actually white. So I can see that happening, especially because he would commit those crimes like in the early morning or late at night. So with, you know, bad lighting and stuff, I can see how he would mistake. Not, by the way, not trying to like excuse him or anything.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there because
yeah. Okay, and then I have another news story. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. Sorry.
Water. Cheers.
This news story has nothing to do with the theme that we're talking about, but I wanted to add it because it's recent, not so recent, but kind of recent. I don't know if you heard about the Logan Paul and Bad Bunny situation. Have you heard about it? Yeah. So Bad Bunny has a song and it's called El Apagón. And it's talking about Puerto Rico and how people aren't from there, like rich people from the US mostly. And they're buying schools, they're buying homes for themselves or to sell at a higher price for tourists, such as Airbnbs. And they're kicking families out. And then Bad Bunny made a music video. And it's kind of like I guess an interview. And it's su music video de su canción, and then plus an interview talking about all of those things. This is where I'm getting all the information from, by the way. And I'm gonna link it on the description if you guys want to see it. But there's an interviewer, and she goes to. Let me look at my notes. It's an interviewer that goes to Puerto Rico, and she's asking people how it's affecting them, and they're talking about their childhood, that it's their childhood schools y las están destrozando, and there's still schools up to this point that are functioning, like que todavía son escuelas, and las están tumbando, and they're being bought, and then they're not able to access their beaches as easily as they were, porque they're building the houses right next to the beach, and there's rocks in the bottom, so they can't walk through. Like they can, but se pueden lastimar, like something can happen, you know. And they walked 1.5 miles, and habían a bunch of rocks, and they were like slipping, so they decided to go back, but like they can't even access their beaches anymore. And they put the properties on purpose at the end, so people would have to buy them to access the beach. And then Logan Paul was actually someone that bought one of the properties by one of those beaches, and he comes out in the music video multiple times. Like in the beginning, he comes out, somebody's like holding a sign with him on it, and then he comes out talking about him moving to Puerto Rico. And he saw that, and he responds to it, and he was talking about Bad Bunny, that he's like, oh, that supposedly que he has nothing against Bad Bunny or whatever, pero estaba diciendo que el Bad Bunny estaba haciendo, he was taking advantage of Act 60, which is, it's called Tax Incentive Code, that provides tax exemptions to businesses and investors that relocate to or are established in Puerto Rico. But Bad Bunny is not taking advantage of the act the way that like others are, como like Logan Paul and the rich people. He is taking advantage of the act, not advantage, but like he's benefiting from the act, pero not in the way that they are, not in the bad way, like in a good way, you know? And yeah, I linked a YouTube video and a TikTok that I saw that they were talking about. So yeah, that's all I have to say
Mm-hmm.
about that.
And you know what? I'm actually glad that you brought it up because I feel like it's happening. I mean, it's always happened in Puerto Rico, and I know that it's really, really bad over there. I'm not trying to take away from that, but it's happening everywhere in South America. Like, I've seen a bunch of TikToks in Mexico where Americans go and they're like, oh, I want to live in Mexico. Everything's so cheap over there. And they go with their fucking US dollars and they buy houses or lots that were from, you know, Mexican families that were struggling to pay. And they're over there living a life of luxury while the Mexican people are struggling to, you know, just get day through day. And it's really infuriating. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like you guys kept telling us to go back to our country because you wanted the U.S. to be for you. So why are you turning now around and like saying like, oh yeah, never mind, I'm gonna move?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it angers me.
Yeah, and since it doesn't happen to them, they don't know what it feels like. Like nobody comes to the US and takes your property. When does that happen? That never happens. But in other places like
Yeah.
Mexico, Puerto Rico, it happens all the time. And like the people that are doing that, they don't realize, like some of them do realize what they're doing and they still don't care. They're like, "Okay, well, I have money. I'm going to buy it." Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, like Latino immigrants don't come here with a whole bunch of money, like, you know, billions and billions of dollars, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy this whole block. You know,
Yeah.
like we come here with nothing and we work in order to be able to get to where we're at.
Yeah.
It's different for Americans going to other countries. They go over there with a whole lot of money. They don't have to go over there, start from zero and build themselves up and experience the culture and the politics. They go there from a place of privilege. So yeah, I'm really glad that Bunny's speaking out on that.
Yeah, and it's not only the people that are moving's fault, but also the government for allowing those people to do it. They're also not giving
Exactly.
a fuck about their own people. They're letting the people buy the property. They could easily be like, "No, you can't buy this property. Like this property is theirs." But no, the government doesn't give a fuck any like either. So sad.
It's really sad. But yeah. um Enough of politics, I guess, but
Yeah.
in order another sad story, and I wanted to talk about this because it's like, I don't know, something important. I don't know if you know who Amouranth is. She's a streamer. I recently learned about it, so like I'm not too knowledgeable on what's happening, and it's pretty recent. It happened a couple of days ago. But basically she's a streamer and she does different kinds of content, and people didn't know that she was married. And so she recently she went live on stream and exposed the fact that she had a husband and that he's very abusive towards her. And in the stream, like he's calling her and he's yelling at her and threatening to kill her dogs and threatening. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about it. I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, and it was messed up because in that stream she basically said, I don't even want to do this kind of content. Like, it's my husband who forces me to do it, and it's he was the one that had the idea to not tell anyone that we were married. And as far as I know, like, we don't really know if she's okay, if she's still living with him, or if she's pressing charges, because he also had access to her bank account and to all of her social media.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so basically he could spend and take away all of the money that she had made, which is pretty dangerous. And I thought it was like important to talk about it because, like, I don't know. Be careful about who you trust, and always have a backup plan. If you are getting married, or not even getting married, if you're like planning to move in with your partner, because you never know.
Yeah, that's scary because it could turn into a whole Britney Spears situation. How they were like controlling her, like
Yeah.
Everything, controlling everything.
Especially because at the end, when the stream, there's a part where the stream cuts, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how it ended. And before it ended, her manager, I guess it's her manager, was asking her like, "Oh, did you take your medication?" And she was like, "What? What are you talking about?" So it sounds like they're kind of setting it up to
Drugging
make
her.
her look crazy. Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah. I didn't put the video in our docs, but if you want to watch like a video on it, Moist Critical has the video on it, and I think he does a really good job at explaining and like staying respectful. So yeah. But yeah, that was our news segment. It wasn't anything. I'm sorry that it was like pretty sad and scary, but that's the world we live in.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So now we're going to move on to our main topic. We're going to be answering, well, we already said personal stories related to Halloween and spooky shit. So we're going to start off with Halloween costumes. What was your favorite Halloween costume and your worst favorite Halloween costume? So yeah, we're going to start with that.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first, just like, cause your name is first and it's gonna confuse me.
Oh, okay. Alright. Well, my favorite Halloween costume was the ring girl. And I wasn't really supposed to be the ring girl. I was supposed to be a ghost. Because at that time when that happened, I was like around 6. And I didn't used to watch scary movies back then because I was a scaredy cat. So I was telling my mom like, oh, like I want to be a ghost or whatever. And so my mom got like just like a simple white gown, and she did like ghost makeup on me. She put like white paint and like made my eyes black or whatever. And back then I had like super long hair and it was straight. So I accidentally ended up looking like the ring girl, even though I was just supposed to be like a little ghost. And it was around the time when that movie had been released. Like I think it was released 2002, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So it was around then. It had just dropped and everyone had seen it. Like it was like the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I remember my mom tells me that we were going around knocking on doors, trick-or-treating, and that everyone would get spooked, and that I made a couple of kids cry.
Oh
and that there was a lady that didn't, like, she closed the door on me, and she told me that I was so mad because they kept telling me like, oh, you're dressed as a ring girl, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be a ghost. I don't even know who this ring girl is. I'm a ghost.
Oh.
But yeah. And then my worst costume was when a corpse bride costume, and it was because my parents did. I'm not gonna lie, I love my parents, but they did a shitty job at doing my makeup that year. So I looked really funny.
Yeah.
And also, it was for school. Like I went to school with that costume. So there was like this festival, and like everyone that dressed up would circle around the like basketball court, and the teachers and the secretaries and the principal would decide which costume was the funniest one, which one was the scariest one, and which one was the cutest one, I think. And the people who won would get little tickets for the Halloween fair later on in the day. And I was hoping to get, like, the scariest costume. Because I hadn't seen myself in the mirror. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be, like, the scariest girl here. But it was fucking hot. Like, you know, where we live in the valley, October is pretty hot, especially, like, in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my makeup was dripping down, and I hadn't noticed. And I got picked the funniest costume, and people were laughing at me.
Oh, no way.
That was the worst costume ever.
How old were you again? It was in 8th grade, you said?
No. I was in third grade.
Oh,
Second grade.
Aww.
Whatever. I'm still salty, but whatever. Go ahead. You can tell your story now.
You're gonna talk about your funny one? You want me to go with the other two first?
Oh, yeah. If you want, you can go first, and then we'll talk. Or I don't know, cause I don't want to mess your like the order that. I don't want to get you confused.
Oh no, whatever you want.
No, you can talk about your favorite and worst one.
Okay. For my favorite, I don't really remember a lot of costumes. Cause when I was younger, I liked Halloween, but since I was a scaredy cat as well, I I always dressed either like something basic, como like a pirate or a vampire. So there's not really a lot, but once I started getting more into makeup, I really did like one of the clown makeups that I did. I didn't really dress for it, but I liked the makeup of it. So that was my favorite. And then for worst, it probably has to be either the zombie or the firefighter. So the zombie, because I barely started getting into makeup, so it looked a little funky. It was like, okay, what's going on in my face? And I just ripped up some old clothes, and it wasn't really a costume. It was kind of like whatever, just to wear. Because I don't think we ended up doing anything for that Halloween. Like we just stayed indoors. I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, I'm just gonna see if I can do some sort of makeup. So I just did whatever and it didn't look that good. But it's tied with the firefighter one because it was like the beginning of high school. It was freshman year. So you don't know what vibe it is. Like you don't know if people are really spirited or they're not. And in our school they weren't that spirited. Like sí habían grupos that were spirited, but most of the school was not. Like we were all I wish that we were in
Yeah.
a school that was spirited, but we weren't. Like Calexico seems pretty spirited, and
Yeah.
El Centro, literally any other school but ours. Ours, I don't know what happened to
Yeah. Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
you know. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take my costume because maybe everyone wears their costume in high school. And entonces I straightened my hair and I was running late already, and I had like my firefighter costume, and it was like kind of sexy, but obviously I wasn't showing anything. And I had my hat and I put it on my binder. And I was already late, so I walked into class. No one was dressed. I was literally the only one that was dressed. I was like, I wanted to die because llegué tarde. Aparte, I was the only one dressed. Y cuando entré, everyone turned to like, I was like, I am gonna die. I was like, no way, nobody's dressed. Y llegué, and I was literally thinking about it the whole day. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I came dressed, and nobody dressed up.
Mhm.
And good thing that there was a couple, but most of the class like regular. I was like,
Yeah. I know. It's because the people in our school were very preppy, like bien de caché. I don't know. They thought too highly of themselves.
yeah, like too much. Like, oh, we're in high school. Like, we're too mature for that, or
Hmm.
something like
Yeah, we're
stupid.
grown. Trick or treating, never. I can
Either
never be
yeah,
me.
either that or they didn't give a fuck. They're like, oh, whatever. You know, it was half
Yeah,
that,
that
half
too.
that.
Like, yeah, the only people that would go all out would be like nerdy people. Like in band, there were a couple
Yeah.
of. Oh, like when I think it was Daisy's friends, a
Hmm.
friend of ours that her group dressed up as the cast from Alice in Wonderland, and they looked
Oh yeah,
so cool.
yeah. We should have not cared and done something like that. But did you ever get dressed for Halloween for high school?
No, we talked about it. I wanted to do something with you and
Uh-huh.
another friend of ours, but remember the reason why we didn't do it is because my parents didn't want to buy costumes for me.
Oh yeah, and then our other friend wanted to be something else.
Yeah,
También.
because her mom was Christian, so
Yeah.
that's why we didn't do anything.
When our friend group sort of broke up, our other friends ended up doing something together, didn't they? Or
Yeah,
no, one of our
they
friends was
did.
like someone else, I think. Pero yeah, we never
Yeah.
really dressed up because either we couldn't because we didn't have the money, or I don't know, like plans never fell through.
Yeah.
We did. do grad night shirts, and those were pretty cool. So at least he did
That is true.
it.
That is very true. But yeah. A funny story that I have for costumes is actually about my little brother. So when he was in kindergarten, we were living in Mex at the time. And in Mex, kindergarten is like all out. Like they do festivals all the time and they do little cute dances with the whole class. It's super cute. And for spring, they had done like a spring festival and their class, they dressed up as different like spring animals.
Aww.
And they did a little cute dance, and my brother was a bee. So my mom had to make a bee costume for him. And then Halloween came around, and my mom was asking me, like, oh, what do you want to be for Halloween or whatever? And then my brothers were into, like, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers or whatever. And my brother was like, I want to be Mario Abeja. And my mom's like, what's that? And he was like, you know, like be Mario, be Mario from I think it's like some video game, I forgot. Yeah. Mario Galaxy or some shit like that. And she was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to do that? And he's like, I already have the costume. Remember the bee costume from school or whatever? So my mom was like, okay, pues whatever, ya tú. And so trick-or-treating, the day Halloween day came around, and we dressed him up with his bee costume from school from the spring festival. And we were going like to knock on doors, and everyone would be like, oh, so cute, he's a little bee. And then my brother would get mad. He'd be like, no soy una abeja, soy Mario Abeja. It was so funny.
I've never heard
he got so mad he got red. Yeah, it's from one of it's from a Wii. I think it's from a Wii game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. For me, oh yeah, a funny story, I guess, from Halloween was that my mom bought me a dog costume. I'm pretty sure it was my idea. I wanted a dog costume, and I was like in kinder. So I kind of remember, I'm not too sure. It's like kind of faint, but I remember being in my grandma's car and getting ready to get off at school. I don't know if I took the costume or ended up not taking the costume. But I remember walking like on my fours. So I think I did take the costume. Dude, and I would fake pee. Like I would lift up my leg and fake pee. Like not actually, but be like, and like, you know, and my dad said that I would wear the costume randomly and like do that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And my sister would do the same thing. Like she would borrow my costume and she would do. I don't know. We were weird children. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like a funny story.
You were exhibiting bad bitch behavior before it was cool. But yeah, crazy. So now, trick or treating. Oh my god. Did you have to check the candy before you eat it? Before you would eat it too, or no?
Yeah, all the time. My mom would always ask like for needles, because I don't know if you would see on the news that they'd be like, "Oh, check your candy for drugs or like needles or anything or like holes." Mm-hmm. That's scary.
Yeah, I think it comes from a dad. This is like a true case, by the way. He wanted to get life insurance, the money from his life insurance because he had a lot of debt. So he put poison on the little candy sticks. You know which ones? Yeah. The ones that are in like a little popote.
Yeah, the sugar sticks, yeah.
Yeah, and he put poison on some of those and he gave it to his kids and his neighbor's kid too. The neighbor's kid ended up not eating it, but his kid did, and he died. So the father murdered his own kid over life insurance, and this is a true story, by the way. So I think after that, people were like cautious about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
there was a lot of stories that either needles or drugs or what else? There was like poison, the one that the story that you talked about.
Hmm.
I don't think I ever heard about that, but yeah, that's scary.
It happened a long time ago. It happened in the 70s.
Oh, damn.
But after that, it was kind of a tradition for people to check. Because I had to do it too.
Hmm.
Like, my parents would, they wouldn't let us eat any candy until we got home and we went through all of it.
Hmm. My parents sometimes they would check it on their own, but later on they'd be like, if it's open, don't. If you have any hole, if it's open, don't eat it. Throw it away. So if we saw like one little tear, we'd be like, nope, we'd throw it away. We knew better than to
Hmm.
eat it.
So, any traditions, Halloween traditions, growing up?
Okay, so for us, we would go to my cousin's house. She lived by Parkside, which is like one of the rich neighborhoods, not the most, but she lived by there.
Hmm.
So then we would go by there. We just assumed like, oh, since they're not rich, but like wealthier, then they're gonna give out full size candy bars, or they're gonna give out more candy than on this side. So we would gather up at
Hmm.
her house, and then we would figure out like, oh, what houses are giving out full size candy bars, and we'd go to those first before they were like all
Hmm.
gone. That was the best. Like when somebody would give us a full size, we'd be like, oh, we hit the jackpot. And then
Yeah.
after after we were done, my my cousins always wanted to go to haunted houses, but I never went. Um, I was always scared of them, so I would just wait outside and be like, okay. Not even like, especially if someone had a Chucky mask. Hell, that was my worst nightmare. If I saw someone giving out candy with a Chucky mask, I don't care if it was my favorite candy. I'm not going up to that house. Anything that was too scary, I was like, my mom would like my mom's very like 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 atrévete, like she doesn't like that we're so
Hmm.
scared and we don't like to do stuff. So she would not force us, but she'd be like, "Ay, no es nada, ve, ve." And I would kind of like go slowly, and I'd let everyone go before me to know like if there was any jump scares. And tenían como people standing up, so whenever I would walk by them, I walk very carefully, like, "Oh, I know they're gonna scare me. I know they're gonna scare me." And I would always let my cousins go first before they went. Y luego, when we would get home, we would trade candies like, oh, I like this one. Oh, this is my favorite one. If you trade me my favorite one, I'll trade you for your favorite one. And
Hmm.
I do it with my cousins and my sisters. And then my cousin and I both loved Kit Kats, so she would try to trade other candies for them, and I'd be like, no, I like these, and like we would try to sneakily trade them, but we would never trade them because those were both our favorites. But yeah, those are my
Hmm.
traditions. Do you want to talk about your tradition now?
Yeah. Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Oh, my tradition was we would gather up, cause at the time when I was little, I still most of my family, like half of it was living on this side,
Mm-hmm.
like in the U.S., and then the other half was still living in Mexicali. So we would gather up my tia's house in Calexico, cause it was like the middle point, I guess.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but and and we would gather up there, and all of like the little kids we would go trick or treat while my tios would get like drunk in the front porch watching like people like go by. And yeah, so we would just walk around trying to get candy and stuff. That
Yeah.
was our tradition.
When we were younger, my an adult always had to come. It was always my tias. All of our tias always came with us. But as we got older, they just started letting us go on our own. Not that old, like we were in high school when they started letting us go on our own. But before that, we
Mm-hmm.
would always have an adult or two with us. And
Yeah.
then
No, well,
mhm.
oh, sorry. Go for it.
Oh, and then back home, I don't think they really did anything. We'd like sometimes we would make food. Now the tradition faded away. Like now we don't really do anything. But we would make food, and then the men and the remaining people would stay at the house and just chill, like watch TV. pretty much.
In my case, my tios and my tias wanted to get drunk, so they didn't give a fuck. Like, they let my cousins go. I remember we were fucking like 5 or 6, and they would let them go on their own. They'd be like, "Ay, no les pasa nada."
Oh my
And
god.
my parents were the my parents were the only responsible ones, so they would take me and then my sister. Like, they would go with us. And so my cousins would stick with my parents and me. But like my tios and my tios didn't give a fuck. They were like, "Nah, you can go. You'll be fine." And they would get drunk.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And actually, that's how one of the stories happened, because my mom and my dad did the best that they could to like watch all of the kids, but we were a big family. Like, it was like maybe like 10 of us, including like the teenagers as well. So they obviously focused on taking care of us, and then if they could, they would take care of the rest, right?
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can do when you're taking care of kids that range from all the way to like 5 years to 17, 18 years, you know?
Yeah.
And so one of my cousins, he's my same age as I was, and at the time we were little. I don't remember how old we were exactly, but we were elementary school little. We weren't even in 6th, 5th grade. And he was wearing like a monster costume, and he had a little mask. And he had already told his mom that he really couldn't see with the mask, but my tía didn't give a fuck. She was like, "Ay, no estás bien, si no puedes ver, quítatela," or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "Okay." And so he was walking with us, but sometimes like he would like mess around, and he wouldn't really pay attention, and he wouldn't really listen to my mom, and he would walk ahead of us, or he would like walk behind us. And then he was walking ahead, and my mom kept telling him like, "Hey, come with us, like, you have to stay with us, you have to stay with us." And at the time, some parts of the neighborhood where my tia lived in were very lit, and then other parts were a little darker, because I don't know if every neighborhood does that, but in my tia's neighborhood, if they didn't want to give out candy, the houses would turn off their lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there were parts where it was like super dark, and what happened was that he couldn't really see, and the area that we were going through was like really dark, and he was like way ahead of us. And so we see him, and he's walking, and my mom's calling him, and all of a sudden we don't see him anymore, and we're like, "What the fuck?" So like we run over to where he was at, and it turns out that they had been working on a manhole, so there was a little hole. It wasn't too deep, but there was a little hole, and he didn't see it because of his mask, and so he fell down, and we had to like, he was crying, and he was like, he got hurt. It wasn't anything serious, but he did get hurt, and so we had to like take him out of the hole and then go back all the way to the house and leave him there. But what was worse was that like when he got there, he was telling his mom like, "Oh, like I fell or whatever," and my tía was just like, "Ay, pues te caíste por pendejo."
Dude.
And so he was just there. He's like, "I didn't even get candy." It was so sad.
Was that the funny story, or was that still your traditions, like part of the tradition section?
No, that was a funny story. Like, I know that it doesn't sound funny, like, that it's kind of like messed up, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
What ended up being funny was the fact that he just had to sit there like the whole rest of the night. His mom didn't let him go. His mom didn't let him go trick or treating because he was like, "No, porque te vas a caer y luego vas a andar llorando." And he was just like,
That's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for me, for my funny story, what was it? Oh yeah, so we were trick or treating, and I think that I was in high school when this happened. But we were passing through the houses, and there was this house, and the light was green. So cuando llegamos, era the guy was dressed up as Jesus, like with the long hair, and then just a white cobija and the chanclas. Not white cobija, but like a white what's called, like a dress, I guess. And then the wife or the girlfriend, I don't know what she was. She was an angel, and she had like a ring on top of her. And then they were giving out candy, Y en cuanto abrieron la puerta, todo el olor se salió de la casa. Like, they were smoking weed because we smelled it. We're like, holy fuck. And then when we got to the house, we got to our house and we let our parents know. We were like, oh my god, we went to this one house and there was like, there was Jesus and like the angel. Oh no, I think our parents were waiting outside. We're like, oh my god, it smelled like weed. And our parents were like, throw away the candy, throw the candy. And then we dropped all the candy in a bag and they didn't let us keep the candy.
Oh, man. No, you should have kept one. Maybe they gave you like a special brownie.
Imagine.
I would have been lit. Oh my god. So for all of you out there, that is proof that Jesus is clearly not against marijuana. I'm joking. But yeah. Dang. You got lucky. That's nice. I love seeing people when they dress up as Jesus. I don't know, it's funny. Like there was this video going around a couple of years ago. I think it was on Instagram. And it was a guy dressed up as Jesus, but he had like a hoverboard.
Oh, yeah.
But he put like he disguised the hoverboard as a cloud, so it looked like he was like floating on a cloud. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that back in like the Vine days.
Yeah. Old stuff. We're old. But
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. We're both 24 now, so
yeah, but you're like months older.
Or whatever. I'm just cooler. No. Yeah. So a scary trick-or-treating story. I actually have two. One of them is it was scary to me at the time, but it's obviously not scary anymore. But there was this one specific house that was like 2 or 3 houses away from my tia's house, where the guy would always dress up like as a scary costume, like one of those monster costumes where like very scary masks, and he would always have like a scythe, I guess what's there, like the la cosa que carga la muerte. It's a scythe, right?
Oh, I have no clue what that's called. A pitchfork.
Well, he would always
like a
yeah, he would have a pitchfork, or he would have like a like things like that.
Yeah.
And I remember, but his favorite one was like the muerte one, and he would sit on the little street curb leading up to his house, and he would like I don't know, like do that on the street, like as if he like, I guess, what would be the word, like raspando on the street. And then he would pull up a rock and he would sit down, and then he would like pretend to be sharpening it. And I was always so scared to go to that house, but it was like the house that gave the best candy. And like he would chase kids around. I get it. It's funny, but like
free Halloween Horror Nights.
He was having the time of his life, but I was not. And I hated going to that house. I would always try to, because he didn't live that far away from like my tia, so I would always try to go. My cousins and I would always wait for him to like chase someone else so that we would run to the door and like ask for candy and then run back.
That's pretty clever.
But yeah, and then another scary story. This one is actually scary. This happened when I was in high school, so we were already living in Brawley, but we were trick-or-treating. And there was a house that used their garage to make like a makeshift haunted house. And you had to go through it in order to get candy. And so my sister and I went through it. And I want to like clarify that my sister at this time was in elementary school. She was like in 5th or 6th grade. And so she was like behind me. And my parents were behind her. So I didn't feel like, that's why I didn't really mind that she was behind me, because I knew that my parents were in the back with my brothers, but I'm guessing that they were taking care of my brothers, and so they weren't really paying attention, and it was really dark. And when we came out the other way, like my sister told me, like I felt someone grabbed my butt. And I was like, what? And she told me, like, yeah, like, I felt someone grab my butt. And I was like, well, like, did you see who it was? Did they do it on purpose? And she was like, no, I don't know. And so we didn't say anything or do anything because we're still to this day, we don't know if it was an accident because it was so dark. Maybe they wanted to grab her back, or her arm, but it was dark, so they didn't really see, or if they like did it intentionally. But yeah, that was like a little fucked up.
I hope it was an accident, because to an elementary. Well, maybe they thought it was you, which is not. I should not, like, it's not right either way. But también a possibility could be that they thought that it was you instead of her. But still fucked up.
Because they were touching other people, like in the arm. Like that was what they were doing. They had someone in the corner touching people. So that's why we thought maybe it was an accident, because they did touch my shoulder. But at the same time, it's kind of like she was in elementary school at that time, so she was shorter than me, and I'm pretty short, like I'm 4'11". So she was shorter than me, so in order to touch her butt, it had to be like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Like they would have had to go low. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't tell dad, don't tell dad.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah. Hopefully it was an accident, but that was pretty scary.
For me, I don't think I had any that scary like situations. Pero there was one time, the only, I guess, scary situations would be Chucky. Like whenever I'd see a Chucky mask, I'd freak out. Like get me out of here, no matter where it was. Pero one scary situation that I do remember that happened was, I think it was the very first Halloween that they let us go by ourselves, and it was just me, my cousin, and my other cousin. I think my sister was there too. But we were all walking to go get candy, y pasó un carro, y pasó bien despacito. And then they, like, I think they yelled and they honked, and that kind of scared me, because it was around, I think it was around the time that the clown situation was going on. So I'm like, oh shit, like, that's when Halloween was really scary, because you don't know, like, if that was gonna happen where you were at, but you didn't want to stop from trick-or-treating también. Like, why is that gonna stop you from doing something fun, you know? So it was pretty scary, because I'm like, fuck, what if I've always been the type to think that como whenever I'm in a movie theater, I always feel like somebody's gonna come up and shoot up the place. Like, I don't know if that's fucked up or
no,
like,
me too.
Yeah, every time I'm like, oh my god, what if somebody comes and shoots up the place? Or like, I know this doesn't sound silly, but I am always scared that if it's a certain theme, como we went to go see Halloween, I'm like, what if somebody comes with a Michael Myers mask and actually comes to kill people, like a person, not like actual Michael Myers, you know? Pero whenever I'm watching especially scary movies, if it's like The Purge, I'm like, fuck, what if somebody actually comes in here dressed with a Purge mask and actually comes and kills with a gun? I've always thought like that. Like, I don't know if the world made me fucked up like that, or I watched too many scary movies, or what, but I've always thought like that.
No, like, I don't want to, like, not to interrupt you, but I feel like it's not a you problem, it's the place where we live in, the US, because I mean, they shot up a Walmart, and ever since that happened, every time I go to a Walmart, I always have that, like, I remember that in the back of my mind. And then there was also the shooting that happened in the theater when the Batman movie came out. So that's, you know, I don't know. It's not you. It's not a you problem, you know?
Yeah. Also, también what was it called? The Interview, I think. Have you ever heard of The Interview or no?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Que según they were gonna bomb up the place if they aired it in the US, and I don't think they ended up airing it in theaters because they were scared that they were actually gonna bomb up, because they were like making fun of South Korea's leader.
North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea. Sorry, completely different.
That's
North
okay.
Korea. North Korea's leader. Yeah, that was a scary time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, even when I watched it at home, because it had Jonah Hill, I think that's his name, and he's like one of my favorite comedian actors, and I really wanted to watch it. So I played it at home, and I'm like, fuck, what if like they find out and they bomb my house or something? Like what? I don't know.
I'm gonna make I'm gonna make a correction. It was not Jonah Hill. It was Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Do not disrespect Seth Rogen like that. I'm kidding.
Wait, Jonah Hill
is
it too? Pero también estaba él o no? A ver.
Pero no es un main character. Because Jonah Hill is the one from 21 Jump Street and the other movie with McLovin. I forget what the movie's called. Superbad.
Oh, it's just Seth Rogen. I don't know why I said Jonah Hill. I love them both either way. Pero, yeah, Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen.
No, I get you. I like Jonah Hill too. I feel like he's funnier than Seth Rogen. And I'm gonna get roasted for that, but like, it is what it is.
I don't know. I don't know which one's funnier than the other one. Maybe. I don't know actually. Next. Oh, first horror movie. Which one was or is the scariest for you? What monster scared you the most? So your first horror movie.
It was a movie called Ghost Ship. And this was in the early 2000s. I didn't actually see it. My parents and my tios were gonna watch it. We were at my tio's house that time. And we were supposed to be asleep. They were sending us to sleep. But, my cousin wanted to watch it. She was like, I want to watch it. And they were like, okay, pues si la quieren ver, pues quédense. But, like, if you get scared, like, we're not gonna hug you or whatever. And I was a scaredy cat. I knew I was gonna get scared. So I was like, no, I want to sleep. But, I could hear it. I could hear, like, the beginning credits or whatever. And I just kept watching. And so I watched the beginning scene where, like, the ghost ship comes out. It's like a ship and it comes out, and then there was some scary things that happened, and I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna go sleep now. But I just couldn't get it out of my head. Like, I kept replaying it, and for years after that I just kept thinking of the movie. But it's because I was in kindergarten when that happened. So that was the first movie that I saw, and it scared me. I haven't seen it to this day, but I've heard that it's not that scary, that it's actually pretty lame. Oh. So.
But when you're little,
I was just a scaredy cat.
Scary. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was such a scaredy cat. If I saw commercials for scary movies, I would get scared.
Me. That was me.
Like, there was this one specific commercial, fucking Doritos. I hate them. I don't know if this aired in the US, but this was airing in Mex. And it was a promotional ad for their new brand of Doritos. Not their new brand, but the new taste, the new flavor for Doritos. And they would put, like, scary backgrounds. They would kind of film it like if it was, like, a scary movie. And then they would say some dumb shit, like, at the end, Doritos, tan buenos que te vas a asustar, or some shit like that. I hated those commercials.
Yeah, I remember those.
I'm like, I'm just trying to watch my novelas. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to watch RBD. Leave me alone.
No, for real. Yeah, I used to be like that. Not used to. I'm not gonna lie. Still, up to this day, I'll watch a commercial for a scary movie and it'll spook me sometimes. But when I was little, I could not see them at all. I'd be like, oh, I'd like mute it or like I'd turn it off or something. I couldn't watch that.
Same, dude.
I don't know if this is because it scared me the most, but the movie that I remember that I first saw that was scary was, wait, actually, either, I don't know, because there was a bunch of movies coming out at this time. I don't know if it was like House of Wax or Chucky. It was one of those that I saw first. I don't necessarily remember, but up to this day, I don't think I've seen House of Wax. I need to watch it. I heard that it's good. But yeah, House of Wax or Chucky was one of the first movies that I saw. Not fully, because I could not watch. I think in high school was the first time that I fully watched a scary movie. And I think it was the one that we went to go see in theaters that I freaked out and I was laughing.
The Forest?
Oh my god, yeah. I think that's one of the first movies.
Sarah.
Dude, I got so anxious. I was so anxious that I was laughing in the movie theater, and I felt so annoying because I know that people could hear me, and I know that, like, in my head, I'm like, oh my god, I sound so annoying because I'm just laughing. Like, I wasn't laughing because it was funny. I was laughing because I was anxious. I was like so scared that I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just coming out of me because I was so anxious. I think that's like one of the first movies that I fully watched y luego ya de ahí se me fue quitando. I was like in high school cuando se me fue quitando. También lo del Chucky and everything.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, Chucky. That was actually one of the movies that scared me the most. Chucky and The Ring. And I never fully watched either one. Like I said, my tias didn't really give a fuck about what my cousins would watch. And so whenever we would go, they would have parties or
Sorry.
reunions at my grandma's house. They would get drunk and they would be blasting music and dancing or whatever. And we would go inside and we would watch TV. But it was always late at night. So they would always be playing scary movies. And they would always, oh my god, I hate it. They would play the Chucky movies so much. The Child's Play.
Yeah.
And I hated that. I hate it. And my cousins would be watching it and stuff. I would want to be, like, hang out with them because I would get bored. So I would want to, like, hang out with them. But I didn't want to watch the movie. So, like, I would go in, sit a little bit, watch, like, 2 minutes, and then, like, go back with my parents and then come back. And
no, yeah. I feel you because I was the only scaredy cat. Like, everyone loved that shit. They all loved scary movies. And I was the only one that was, like, I'd do the same thing. I'd go, and then I'd wait, and then I'd leave, and then I'd come, and then I'd wait.
Mm-hmm. I know you had a fear of Chucky, too. So, like, I want to hear your stories.
Okay, so, yeah, obviously, Chucky scared me the most. So, around that time, my sister that's younger than me, she's, 19? She's 19? Me. She's 4 years younger than me. I think, if I did the math right. She's 4 years younger than me, and she would watch the Chucky movies. I think Chucky was the one that made me fear all dolls. Like, you could not catch me having a doll. Maybe if it looked cartoonish, I'd keep it. Pero if it was too realistic, any baby ones, even if they were the prettiest ones were actually the ones that scared me the most. I don't know why. But, like, if they were, like, eyelashes and, like, blue eyes and pale skin, those were the ones that scared me the most. Any baby scared me that looked realistic, but las cartoons te las paso. Especially if they moved, like those that sat and walked and shit and all that.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was scary.
They would cry on their own.
Yeah, and like, you couldn't catch me with one of those. Barbies, también, honestly, Barbies también me asustaban, porque I don't know if you've heard, but there was this movie called, what was it, Toy Soldiers, or...
I know which one you're talking about. That shit scared me too. Yeah.
The one where the
guy has the soldiers and then yeah.
Yes. So, tampoco Barbies las podía ver. I'm like, what if they do that to me? You know? Entonces, mi sister tenía babies. Like, she liked them. So, like, it's not like I could be like, don't play with them. I would tell her sometimes, but I couldn't force her to not play with her dolls. Entonces, she would purposefully leave them out in the sun para que se quemaran la cara. Like, once the face was all, when they were, like, black, las dolls, like, they looked scary, she would bring them inside and she would scare me with them. She would chase me around with them. And she was younger than me, and I'd get scared. Oh, my God. She was something else. Oh, and then my grandma and all of my cousins were coming back from Mexicali, and we stopped at California. And I was in the trunk. All my cousins were, like, in the front. Siempre ha sido, like, the oldest one goes in the front, and then the older ones atrás, y luego yo mero atrás, like, in the cajuela. So, my grandma parked, and she went to go get groceries. Entonces, there was a van next to us. And my cousin's like, mira, Liz, hay una van llena de Chuckies. And I'm like, he's joking. I turn around, the van is literally full of Chucky dolls. I'm like, oh, I started crying. I'm like, where's Celia?
Oh my god.
Celia? I was all traumatized. And then I was in the back alone. So we waited until my grandma came, and then she left, and she's like, oh my god, like, she was shocked. Because she was also kind of, like, scared, but not, like, obviously not, like, scared of them. But she was, like, shocked that there was a van full of them. They were probably going to sell them or something, pero yeah, that was another traumatizing experience. Y luego, My cousins would always laugh at me. Like I'd be like scared shitless, and everyone would always laugh at me. I hated that. Yeah, I couldn't even see commercials with him in it. The Exorcist was also a movie that scared me a lot, even though I never watched it. Pero mi tía le dio un montón de movies a mi mom that my cousin didn't use anymore. My oldest cousin, and they were all cassettes. So my mom's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like we'll take them so we can watch them." Entonces, between one of those was the Exorcist one, and the cover isn't that scary. Like, I think it's un guy in un like suit, I think, and there's like
Mm-hmm.
rain or something. But my mom would always hide it from us. Because she didn't want us watching that. She's like, "Oh, es del diablo eso." Like, don't watch it. So that always scared me, and I was curious about it, but I never watched it because it was scary. I think up to this day, I haven't watched it because I don't know. I get scared. Like, I feel like some movies might. I know they sound stupid, but I feel like, what if a movie haunts you? Like, what if something like bad shit does happen to you after you watch a certain movie? So with
Yeah.
those movies que son más como, how the whole cast had like problems after that movie or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The little yeah, that one of
Mm-hmm.
the members died, or the set caught on stage. The stage caught on fire or something like that.
Yeah, so I've been scared to watch that ever since I heard all the rumors, and I don't know, I'm just very like that. I'm very like, oh, what if I watch it and something happens to me? Like, it's because of that movie, you know? Y luego, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan.
No.
No? Well, I saw it with my cousins at their house. Y miramos two. That was back when Blockbuster was a thing. We would go into Blockbuster. Y había una en Calexico by them, so we would go to that one. I think their dad used to take us, or like, so one of the older, either my dad or our tios or I don't know who used to take us, but we used to go to Blockbuster and we would rent out movies. And it was around the time where the fucking Chucky movies would come out, so the big ass poster was there. I would not. I'd be like,
Oh my god.
this in the videos. I'd be like, just pick out a movie and let's go. And
Hurry up.
yeah, one of them was like the people that had masks. I forgot what it was, like the Wanted, the Taken, the some shit like that. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The Strangers, I think it's
yeah, yeah,
called.
there you go. The Strangers, and the other one was I Know Who Killed Me. So I think we watched I Know Who Killed Me first, and I showered. I either showered in the middle of it or the beginning somewhere, or maybe towards the end. But I was scared to go shower because like I had just finished watching the movie, and I didn't. I would like watch pieces because I was scared. It's more of a mystery. I think it was like I don't really remember. I want to watch it again, but I haven't gotten to it because it seemed interesting. I don't know how good it is. Pero fui a bañarme, y cuando salí de bañarme, they were like, "Oh my God, you have blood on your head," or whatever. They were like, they would fuck around with me, and I'd be like, "No, I don't." But then I take off my towel and I check and be like, "No, I don't." Okay, for you, what was the monster that scared you the most?
Well, it was both Chucky, like you. That's why we bonded. And La Llorona and La Mano Peluda. I was scared of those three so much. Chucky was because, like, well, like I said, like I had seen bits and pieces of the video, but all three of those, it was because of my cousins. Because my cousins would tell me, like, stories about it. They'd be like, ay, te va a salir el Chucky en la noche. Or, like, ay, te va a salir la mano peluda y se te va a subir en el hombro cuando estés durmiendo. Or shit like that. Or they would tell stories about La Llorona. And I would get scared. I'd be like, oh my god, like, it's gonna happen to me. Like, I'm gonna be asleep and I'm gonna see them. And I think that's why I was so scared of those three. I remember my grandma had like a little laundry room at the end of her house, and it also happened to be like it was the bathroom and then the laundry room. So we would go sit in the laundry room, and like my cousins would turn off the lights and they would tell us like spooky stories, and then they would like scare us, and like we'd run out of the laundry room, and
Oh
then
my
I would
God.
be so scared to go to the bathroom because sometimes they would like wait there in the laundry room for someone to come by and like scare them.
Oh my God.
And it was, I don't know, it was crazy. They enjoyed doing that to us. And then one of my cousins was obsessed with Chucky. She had like the Chucky dolls. She had Chucky, and she also had Chucky's wife. I forget what she's called.
Tiffany.
And she would always, yeah, Tiffany, there you go. And she would always bring them around with her, and I hated that. I hated that so much.
Oh my god.
I didn't like it. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, she would sleep with them and stuff.
Oh
and
my
I'd be like,
god. That reminds me of a story in school where I think we were in second grade, and my crush was in front, pero like next, like esquineado, you know? And he brought a Chucky doll to school, and I was like, oh my god, is that Chucky? I do not want to turn around because I just know that's Chucky. I turned to see, and it was Chucky, and I was like, oh, fuck, like I was so scared. And the teacher was doing her lesson plan, y no podía ver, so it's not like they could stop it, and they were like throwing the doll around, and I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, can you please?
like,
It
no.
felt like, yeah, it felt like the longest. I don't know how much time they spent, but eventually the teacher saw them, pero duró. I felt like it was an eternity. I was like, oh, please, teacher, look at them in trouble. But yeah, that reminded me of that. And yeah,
I hated that. I hated it was really a time where like a lot of people had like Chucky dolls or whatever, or little Chucky llaveros. Oh, I hated that. That was the worst time to be alive. I'm not gonna lie.
No, yeah. I feel like now there's
everywhere you would turn.
Yeah. Ahora nowadays there's not really a signature scary thing that, like, I guess Ghostface, but come on, that's not really that scary. I know, it's a white mask.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I used to be scared of Ghostface too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never seen the movies actually, which is funny because now they're one of my favorite horror movies. Scream is one of my favorite horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
But before I didn't really know the movie or the story behind it. I just assumed like it was a ghost. Mm-hmm. And my cousins would dress up for that as Halloween all the fucking time. And they would chase us around with the little knife, and I would get so scared. I'm realizing that my family sounds super fucked up. I like how we were both scared of Chucky, and that was like a bonding moment for us or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we both went to see the new Child's Play when it came out, the 2019 one.
We did. I didn't even realize that. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was like we got over our trauma together type of thing.
And we went to go see that damn movie.
Yeah. And it's funny because I haven't seen the original one still. Like, I've never seen the original ones. Like, as an adult, I have never sat down and watched the original Child's Play entirely, even though, like, I'm not scared of it anymore. Like, I'm into horror movies now. Yeah, that's funny. Interesting.
Yeah, I watched it because, you know me, I'm very like, oh, I need to watch the movies como... I need to watch the ones before in order to watch the new ones. Like, I can't just watch number 4 and I haven't seen the 1, 2, 3. I've done it before, but that was only because, if you know what I'm talking about, we went to go see what's it called? Avengers?
Yeah.
The Avengers one?
It was, the Age of Ultron. Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, we went to go see it, but that was because, you know.
Yeah.
You know why we went to go see it. That's the only, y también la de Black Panther. Those are the only two that I didn't really watch the before movies, like the actual whole Marvel movies. I was watching them with my sister, but, you know, we stopped.
That was our experience with Chucky. I hate it. I hate it when they would talk about Chucky. I hate it when they would talk about La Llorona.
For me, I guess the scariest monsters, I didn't have one. Like, as we've mentioned many times before, we were both scared of Chucky. But I feel like I was scared of everything. Like, todo me daba miedo. From the Hitchhiker, I guess those are more like stories. Pero anytime it was late at night and we were on the road, I've always been scared that there was a hitchhiker that was going to pop up. La Llorona también, La Mano Peluda. My cousin would tell us that we were gonna get like dragged by our feet de la mano peluda en la noche. So I would always put a blanket over me every time that I slept. Up to this day, I have to sleep with a blanket. It's not anything about. Well, I don't know. I I feel like I'm still a bit of a scaredy cat. So sometimes I'll like, me tapo y ni tengo frío, pero I kind of feel exposed. I don't know. Y luego
Mm-hmm.
también, I always remember the story that Daisy told us about the dog, the one where like they left su mano abajo and they like
Yeah.
they felt
And it
someone
licks,
lick it,
yeah.
yeah, and their dog was dead. I was like, okay, I'm keeping my hands all the time near me when I sleep.
Dude, oh my god, yes, me too.
Yeah, and then también el diablo, like that's also another thing that I I feel like up to now I'm still scared of like the devil. On 6 January, February, March, April, May, June 6, 2006, like 666. My cousin told me like, oh, that's then I didn't know what 666 meant. I just knew that the devil was gonna come on that day. Cause my cousin told me, she's like, "Oh, the devil's gonna come this day because it's 666." Like I didn't know what 666 meant, but that's what she told me. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember that day. I was in this room. Isn't it crazy how this is still my room, even when I was younger? But like I was with my grandma when I was in this room. But
Mm-hmm.
I was in this room, and I remember that we used to sleep on the floor because my grandpa used to sleep on the bed. Eventually, we got another bed, but we used to sleep on the floor for some time. And I remember that it was getting close to midnight, and I still couldn't sleep. And I had like a sabana on top of me, and I was hiding under it. And I think I was like praying, or I was because she said that the devil was gonna come to earth, and if you weren't asleep or if you've done bad things, that he was gonna take you or he was gonna show up or something. So I was hiding under the blanket, and I was just like, I was just peeking out the window to see if he was gonna come. It was kind of scary. It was traumatizing, not gonna lie.
It was always older cousins messing with us, and I hate
Yeah.
it. But
No,
it's
the
also
thing
like,
is,
it's fun to.
yeah, the thing is, she actually believed some of those, like the 66 thing. She believed that too. Pero ella le valía, like se dormía and
Oh,
whatever. But I was the one that would stay up like traumatized, you know?
yeah. I forgot to say, like, yeah, the devil was also a big one for me because, well, you know, Catholic family or whatever. And, my grandma, she was like, I guess very strong spirited, and
Mhm.
every time she would get mad, like when she couldn't find things or like when things didn't happen the way that she wanted them to happen, she would get mad and then she would start cursing the devil, and I would get so scared. I'd be like, don't do that, he's gonna come for us, like he's gonna come for you, blah 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 blah. And she'd be like, ay, pues que venga por mí, que she would say shit like that, and I'd be like, no. Oh, it's so, like she would lose things and she'd be like, ay, es el maldito diablo, otra vez que me movió las cosas, siempre está peleando conmigo, que nomás me odia a mí, and I don't know what, pero no tiene los huevos para venir a aparecerse enfrente de mí. And I'd be like, no, grandma, don't say that.
Oh my god. Yeah, my
I'd be like, cruz, cruz, que se vaya el diablo y venga Jesús.
no, yeah, my mom would my mom would always say, like, cuando yo y mi hermana nos portábamos mal, she'd be like, te está picando la cola el diablo. And I'd be like, no, no. I don't know if your mom or your grandma used that too.
No, my parents would say, like, whenever something would fall to the floor, they'd be like, ah, ya lo lambió ya lo chupó el diablo.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
that too, that too. Could be like, you.
Yeah. I remember I would always ask them, what if I fall too?
I think I saw a show or
That's,
something that like a grandma fell to the floor and somebody was like, "Oh, ya la lambió el diablo" or some shit like that.
they're like, no hay que levantarla.
Yeah.
Hitchhiker stories were also, like, very big, and I was scared of
Yeah.
them too.
Times relatives scared you.
Well, yeah, my cousins.
Your cousins.
My grandma would scare me. My grandma and my grandpa would, but they didn't mean to scare me. They would just tell, like, paranormal stories that they had, like scary stories that they had to share, and I would get scared listening to those stories, you know.
Hmm.
But I don't think they do it on purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The same for me. For me, it was my older cousins. It would scare me with Chucky, and then my sister with the dolls. And también mi grandma. She would siempre le gustaba contar stories cuando veníamos de Mexicali late at night, like como a las 12, that's when she would tell us
Oh.
about the hitchhiker y la llorona. I don't know why the fuck she would tell us stories that late and on the road. I feel like it's scarier when you're on the road. Oh yeah, also my tío showed us The Grudge when we were younger in like one of
Oh my god.
he had like a computer room or like I don't know what the room was for. But we would go in there and he showed us The Grudge. I don't know why the fuck he showed us that and we were so young. But yeah, that was weird. Okay, and then
Scary.
paranormal experiences.
Scary story. I remember one of the stories that my grandpa would always tell us, because before he was a mechanic,
Mhm.
and so he would go whenever like trucks, like big trucks or like stuff would like break down in the middle of the road, like they would call him to go fix them. So he would travel to La Rumorosa pretty often. But it was back then with like the old road, not the new road that they have now.
Mhm.
And so it was like a very dangerous, windy road. I mean, it still is. Like, I still kind of get scared a little bit whenever we're going through it because it's so windy.
Mhm.
But it used to be worse.
Yeah.
And so he would always tell this story about how one time he was coming back from fixing a truck and he was coming down. And there was he knew it by memory. He knew the road by memory. So he knew where he was, and then he knew that there was a turn coming up. But he says that he swears that when he was looking at the road, like he knew that the turn was coming up, but that the road looked straight. And he was like, wait, like there's supposed to be a turn right now. Like, why does it look straight? And so he was like, no, he was like, he trusted his instincts, and he turned. And then the moment that he started turning was when he actually, like, he was able to see the road again. And, like, he saw that if he had kept going straight, that he would have gone, like, straight down, down the hill. And he used to tell us that, like, he thinks, because my grandpa was very superstitious, like, there's a chance that it was late at night and that he was tired and that, you know, his brain was acting up. But a lot of people say that, like, there's, like, a lot of ghosts and stuff from people that have died before, and that they'll change up the road for you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandpa said that's what happened to him. That like a ghost was trying to get him to like drive down or whatever. It's still something very scary. Like, even if it was something just like psychological, like, it's still pretty scary to think. Yeah. Especially if you've seen it and if you've driven through it. Like, it's really tall. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that I know how that could have happened, like, psychologically, but I'm also very superstitious. Like, I lean more towards like the crazier side. Like, oh, in my head, I'm like, yeah, that was probably a ghost. Like, something was wrong
Yeah,
there.
me too. Me too.
That reminds me of the time where
you.
when my grandma was driving with my cousin. They were passing through like a lake or something. I don't know what it was, pero que they like ended up falling into it y que los estaba jalando, and that my grandma was trying to like drive out, but it felt like they were pulling her in. Like, I don't know what was pulling her in. Pero what I find crazy is that she's told me that story multiple times. Y si le pregunto ahora, ya no se acuerda. And I've asked my cousin before. Yeah, I've asked my cousin before, and también se acordaba antes. Pero ahora, if you ask her today, none of them, both of them, like, ninguna se acuerda. And I'm like, am I making this up? I'm like, no, I remember that my grandma told me this story multiple times. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. Did I ever tell you about it?
No, not the story.
No, but yeah, I've told people before. Like, I don't know, maybe my other friends. I'm pretty sure I've told other friends before. But yeah, it's definitely not a story that I've made up. Like, I'm pretty sure my grandma told me multiple times about this story. That reminds me of the whole rumorosa thing.
It's very scary. And then also, my grandma always used to tell this story about how, like I said, she used to be like very grosera. Like, she used to say a lot of bad words when she was little. And our families are super, super Catholic. Like, all of our families, like my grandma's family, my grandpa's family, whatever. Her mom used to get her in trouble, and she'd be like, no, las niñas no deben de decir groserías, blah, 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 porque si no va a salir el diablo, like the devil's gonna come get you because you're saying bad words or whatever. And my grandma wouldn't give a fuck. She'd still say bad words. And so she was saying that one time they were playing out, and my grandma has a sister that's super religious. Like, she was so religious that at one point she was gonna be a nun. That's how religious she was. She's always been that way, and they were little and they were playing outside, and my grandma kept saying like bad words, and her sister was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play with you anymore because the devil's gonna come get us because you can't stop saying bad words or whatever. So she went inside, and my grandma was like, I will, like, ayatu, like, I'm gonna stay out here and I'm gonna play. And it was already getting dark, and so she was staying there and she was playing. And she said she went, like, behind, like, a bush. Like, behind. So, like, the bush wasn't in her back. The bush was, like, in front of her.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And she was kind of, like, peeking around, waiting to see if her sister would come out again to scare her. And she said she felt, like, a hand, like, touch her back. But she said that what was weird was that she was wearing, like, a sort of t-shirt. So, like, her whole back was covered. It wasn't exposed. But she said she felt it, like, on her skin. Yeah. And she got so scared. And then she went inside and she told her mom. And her mom was telling her, like, ese fue el diablo because you were saying bad words. Like, that's why that happened to you. And she would always tell that story. And I would always get scared. And I'd be like, and that was the reason why for the longest time I didn't really cuss or anything. But now I don't give a fuck, so. Ay, ahorita no voy a sentir la... No, cállate.
Shut up. When I was younger, I think in junior high was when I started cussing here and there. Y luego, cause I didn't have an older sister or sibling. Like, my cousins didn't really say bad words. I feel like they would say once in a while, so I would also say once in a while. Pero, like, I'm saying that I didn't have an older sister because yo cada rato le digo a la Paola que no diga groserías, and up to this day she hasn't said a bad word. Like, she doesn't say bad words. And in a way it is good, cause, like, I don't know, sometimes you become too much of a potty mouth que se te olvida, like, even when there's, like, younger children or, like, you know. Pero I've always been a potty mouth. Like, in a high school, I feel like I was worse in high school. Like, in high school, I used to say a lot of bad words. Y luego, I remember my crush once said that he didn't like cuando decían muchas bad words la gente. And I don't know if you remember that. I, like, stopped cussing for a while, and I cuss, and I'd be like, and I'd be like, fuck, I'd be like, ah. And then I was like,
yeah. I remember that because that was my Catholic girl era. I'm so embarrassed. Like, that was my religious era, and I tried not to cuss all that much. I would, but, like, I was trying not to. And I remember you told me, and I was like, yeah, we shouldn't do that anymore because, like, that's bad, and, like, God or whatever.
Oh my God, we were both doing that. We were like, we're santas, we don't say bad words.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. Man. Crazy that I would come out of that on the other side. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna bring this up earlier, but you pulled, like, a memory out of my subconscious when you talked about the clown situation. I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a scary time. Like, I think that Halloween, we actually didn't trick or treat. I think I remember that my mom. I don't remember if we actually did or did not, but I do remember my mom talking about not wanting us to go trick or treat that year. I think we did. That was so crazy, and, like, what's even crazier about that time to me is the fact that we never found out why they were doing it.
Yeah.
So when I was living in the projects, the unit that we got, the family that had lived there before us, the people, our neighbors, and then, like, the people in charge would tell us that they were, like, very rowdy, and, like, that they would, like, sell drugs, and that they had a suspicion that the guy's wife or girlfriend was, like, a sex worker. because there would always be people coming in and out of that house at all times. And actually, like, in one of the rooms, I don't know if you ever got to see it, but in one of our rooms, there were, like, the floor, era loseta, no era tile, era loseta.
Yeah.
And there were, like, scratches on the loseta almost, like, not scratches, like, made by a hand, but, like, como si hubieran roto la loseta. And I don't know if that was caused by, like furniture, but I don't know, that was kind of like weird. And so that apartment always had like a weird vibe. It always felt like very ominous. And then there was we would always hear stuff, like we would be in the living room and we would hear noises in the back, in the rooms. There was a hallway, and like we'd be inside of our rooms, and then because my sister and I shared a room, and then my sister and I, we would see like shadows like underneath the door walking by, and then we would ask our mom like, oh, what were you doing up at night? Or like, she'd be like, no, yo no me levanté en toda la noche. And then our phones would always fall. Like, even if we would put our phone in like in the middle of the table, it would still, like, we would come back and it'd be on the floor, or like we would just hear shit fall down. It was kind of scary. And there was one occasion where my parents were both, I don't know if they went to a party, but they weren't home. I think they went to Mexicali. And I stayed behind and I was taking care of my brothers and my siblings. And we had ordered pizza, and we were just eating pizza, watching YouTube together in the living room. And then we hear a knock on the door, and we're like, okay, let's go check it out or whatever. I open it, and it's a policeman, like a legit policeman. And he's like, oh, I got a call that there was like a domestic disturbance here in the home. And I was like, no. I was like, no, like, it's just me and my siblings. I'm taking care of them. By the way, I was already in IBC, so like it wasn't illegal. Like, I was already above 18 plus. And I was like, no, like, it's only me and my siblings. I told them, like, we're watching TV, so maybe maybe the neighbors thought that there was, like, that was, that the screams or whatever were that. And I asked him if he wanted to come inside and check. Which, in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that, because, I mean, he looked like a legit policeman, but you never know. Yeah, like, he didn't show me his badge or anything. So, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But he said, like, oh, no, like, that's fine or whatever, and he just walked away. That was weird, though.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I don't know if you remember, but there was one time that I stayed over. I think it was me and Brittany, maybe, or Sierra, or Daisy. But we were singing karaoke and we ordered piñas locas. I don't know if you remember that time.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I'm not gonna lie, that day seemed, I don't know if you felt it too, but I don't know, I felt a little off in your living room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a fun time. No más que I just felt I felt off that day. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I think I don't remember if you were gonna stay and sleep over or something, or if you did sleep over.
I was gonna stay over.
Because there was one time that you, like, slept over and you left, like, early in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
But I think that was another time. I don't think that was the same.
Yeah, that was another time. It was another time. Yeah, that day, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm just a scaredy cat, but I always leave early in the morning. Like, wherever I go, I don't like staying for long. And that day, en la noche, no podía dormir, and I kept looking over to your door. Like, I think you left your door open or something. And I don't know, I just felt weird. So, I ended up falling asleep, but I felt weird that day. I don't know why. Well, or that night.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I feel like that's why I didn't really invite anyone. I didn't like inviting anyone to my house, especially when we lived there, because no one would stay for a long time. And at first I felt like, oh, like, I'm just boring, like, they don't want to be here. But then later on I started realizing, like, maybe they just don't like the vibe, because it wasn't just you. Like, there were a couple of times where, like, other people went over and no one would, like, stay for that long. Everyone would be like, oh, like, I have to go or whatever, and I'd be like, okay. I feel you, like that day that we were having piñas locas, like the vibe did feel off. But it was always in the living room and the whole house, it always felt like that.
That's crazy, dude.
But it makes me feel better to know, that it wasn't me making it up, that like other people felt it too.
Yeah. I never mentioned it to you because I thought it was me. I was like, it's just me. Like, I'm just the scaredy cat, you know?
But no, now I know that you felt it too. So like, yeah, that's crazy. I feel bad for the people that have to live there now.
Yeah. Did you ever wonder like who lives there?
I do, and I don't know. It was always just kind of like we were all, my family and I, we were so excited to leave that place because I don't know, it just felt like so so draining. Like I even remember when we moved to the other house, we were talking about how the new house where we lived felt so peaceful. And I remember my mom said something that kind of made me think. She was like, I hated living in those apartments. Like, I don't know if it was because we were going through like money struggles or like, I don't know, but she's told me when we were living there, we were always fighting. All of us were always in a bad mood and always fighting. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And then we moved to the other house and it was like a drastic change. Like we were still having money problems. That didn't change. But the house just felt so peaceful. I don't know. It was weird.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. But I've gone on for too long. It's your turn.
Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, so my cousin was driving. I don't know if it was from La Rumorosa or I don't know. I'm not sure if it was La Rumorosa or some other place. Pero not my cousin wasn't driving. She was in the back seat, and she was taking selfies. Entonces, when she was looking at her selfies, she saw a face in the back. And when my tia looked at it, they said that it looked like my tio's dad that had passed away. He didn't pass away
Oh, shit.
recently, I don't think so. Pero yeah, that was like a crazy story that happened. And I think they ended up deleting the picture because they believed that he wasn't getting any rest if they kept the picture. I don't know. And and then I remember I went to a quinceañera on my cousin's dad's side of her family. And one of her tío from her dad's side took us outside and we were all sitting like in this bench, and it was like como era como un parque afuera or something like that on the other side. uh I just remember it was a salon and it was like empty. I don't know where it was at because I was so little, but all I do remember is that he told us a scary story, and then like he was having us hold hands and like close our eyes, and in the middle of it, I think the lights started flickering and we freaked out, and we went inside, and he was telling like a ghost story. It was like one of those ghost stories que tú te imaginas que estás ahí. He was making us like pretend that we were there. Like we were like, oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
driving la carretera, it's like tanto. And we thought that he did something to the lights, but up to this day, I don't know what happened. I don't know exactly the details of the story, and I don't know what happened there, but that was another one. And then Theo, that's my grandma's sister's husband, he would take us to his like room where he kept his camera equipment and like where we watched The Grudge, and he would show us work footage. I guess he worked in security y habían footage de ghosts. Like there was bikes that were que habían bikes que estaban pasando y parecía que estaban solas. Like they were just driving alone. I don't know if any of that footage was real, but yeah, he
That's
would show us a
scary.
lot of ghost footage. He'd like slow it down and show us and shit. And we were young, so
Yeah.
and then he told us about a doll that would move. Like one of those, I don't know if you ever saw those life-size dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told us that they had one in their closet y que una vez no estaba ahí y estaba del otro lado del cuarto. And like they found out weird because they hadn't touched the doll. And también my grandma said that she would see figures from her house to her mom's house that had passed away. Y esa casa es de su hermana ahora. But she would see like figures, and they always said that it was like her mom, my grandma's mom, porque se miraba como built like her, you know? the shadow that they would
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah.
And then I remember when we went to the Ed Sheeran concert. Entonces we missed the light thing. We were supposed to go to some
Yeah.
light show. And then Itzel was like, "Oh, let's
Yeah.
go do this tour." And she's like, "Oh, it's not." I think that you told me que nomás era un tour donde quedabas sentada y mirabas casas. I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't end up being just that. We ended up like actually getting off and going to the house, and like people were taking pictures and stuff. And supposedly it was like a place donde se murió la familia, or like se mataron or something. Like the dog was killed or some shit like that.
No, it was the Whaley House. It's in San Diego, and like it's been on like ghost shows before, whatever. So in the early days when like the Spanish were like here colonizing or whatever, it was used as a courthouse. So there was a period of time where they would hang people inside the house.
Oh, okay.
And then later on it turned into just a house and like the family lived there. But they used to have a dog, and then like one of their daughters got sick or something and died or in that house or whatever.
Y también habían dicho que el perro se murió, and that sometimes they would feel like the dog, and they would smell the lady's perfume and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think I blocked
Mhm.
all that out because I remember they were talking about the story y yo no quería escuchar, so I was just like I was looking around the house, pero no escuché la story. So ahorita que estás
Mhm.
diciendo eso, it's like new to me because I think I blocked it out. I wasn't listening. I was so scared.
Girl, how could you block it out? Like we were in the courthouse and they had all the like the little chairs and they had like the little
I don't know how.
judge
I do
chair
remember that.
desk.
I remember that, but I don't remember the story. Like I dead as blocked out the story
Oh,
because
I
I
see, I
remember
see.
sitting in the chairs and I remember you being there with me, but I don't remember the story. How traumatized!
Oh yeah,
It
okay, I
wasn't
see.
that bad. It wasn't that bad, but that was another thing. Oh, and up to this day, I haven't checked the pictures. I don't know. See, I ghost them because I've been scared to check them. I haven't. I should check them someday, but I don't know. Maybe they're just there in my hard drive. I haven't checked them because I remember you checked them and
Yeah.
you saw a couple of like como ¿cómo se llaman de esos orbs or like
Orbs, yeah.
and I haven't
Yeah.
checked
It
them.
wasn't I took out of like the hundreds of pictures I took, it was only like two or three. There was one. I don't know how it happened, but the whole screen was white.
Yeah, I remember you told me about that.
And I don't know how that happened. 'Cause I would, and some of them I did have a flash, but I looked it up online and it said that even if it was a flash issue, that it wouldn't turn out all white.
Yeah.
That I would be able to see parts of it on like the edges.
There's probably a ghost photobombing you ahí enfrente de ti.
Imagine a close up.
Oh yeah, and then we have the Dia de los Muertos. Do you celebrate that?
I do. I used to. My grandpa was the one that like would celebrate it, and he would always light up candles for his family members who had passed away, and for his first wife who had also passed away. And he would always tell us. I remember he would tell my mom. He'd be like, when I die, I want you to keep lighting candles for my family members, because they had like for his first wife, and then for his mom, for his padrino, and also like my grandma and my grandpa had like a, what's it called, stillborn baby. I don't know, they lost a child. My grandma had a miscarriage, and so he would light a candle for that baby too.
Mm-hmm.
And so after he passed away, my mom started building like an altar,
Mm-hmm.
and she would light up candles for my grandpa, my grandma, and for his relatives and stuff. And so we would do that, and then we would eat pan de muerto and stuff.
Was that your mom's side of the family?
Yeah, because my dad's side of the family, my grandma's super, from my dad's side of the family, she was super Catholic. So she didn't really believe in that, I guess.
Yeah, in my family...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, my mom's side of the family was Catholic too, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. For me, we never celebrated Dia de los Muertos. I don't know why. I guess it's not a tradition for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then your recommendations?
So for this week, because we have like a spooky themed sort of episode, I thought it'd be cool to recommend like some of my favorite horror movies. If anyone's looking for a scary movie to watch on Halloween. So I have Train to Busan for zombie movies. That is my favorite, not only my favorite zombie movie, but my favorite horror movie of all time. I guess it's not really that scary, but like, it's awesome. If you want to watch a zombie movie, you should definitely watch that. And then Veronica, that is a possession / exorcism movie, and it's pretty good. And then As Above, So Below, that's found footage. So like, kind of like Blair Witch, but obviously not Blair Witch. But it's about like the Paris catacombs or whatever. So it's very interesting and it's very trippy. I liked it a lot. And then there's Ju-on Origins. That one is not a movie. It's a show on Netflix, and it's based on The Grudge.
Oh.
But I thought it was a really good show, and it's about like a haunted house. Like everyone that lives in this house or goes into this house ends up dying. It's pretty interesting, and the original movies are actually pretty good too. But I like the show better. And lastly, this is a Japanese movie, and it's Sadako versus Kayako. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But it's like a stupid horror comedy / gore movie. It's super fun. It was like the Freddy versus Jason type of thing, but they did it better. So yeah.
Did
You
you
should
recommend...
definitely watch any of those.
Yeah, I am definitely gonna watch them all. But did you recommend no, did you recommend As Above, So Below to me? Do you remember?
It was Daisy. It was Daisy, but I was there and I said like, oh yeah, I've seen it and it's good too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it was Daisy.
Yeah, I watched it, pero I don't remember that much. I don't know if it was trippy. Is it where donde están como atrapados como en un little tunnel, kind of?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, I either didn't. It was either really good and it had a big twist, or I didn't understand it. It was one of those two. I don't really remember it. I have to watch it again because it was either really good or I didn't understand it. Either or.
No, okay, so here's the thing. It's because like when it starts off pretty good like any horror movie. But then towards the end, it starts getting really trippy and really confusing.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
Like when the movie finishes, you're kind of like, wait, what happened? So like,
yeah,
are they alive or are they dead? You know? So like, yeah, that's why. Like I remember I had to look it up.
Okay. I want to watch it again. Actually, I'm gonna watch all of these. I'm gonna try to watch all of these because there's just a lot going on this month.
Yeah. Well, fair warning. The last two, the Grudge show and the other ones are pretty scary. I know that the last one is supposed to be there's supposed to be like a horror comedy, but the ghost it is comedy, but the makeup that they use is like well done, so it is kind of scary.
Okay.
Just so you know. The zombie movie though, I feel like that one you would like it because although it is horror, it has like a lot of drama in it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a Walking Dead type of drama, but better.
Okay. And then for me, I don't have any recommendations because when I did this, when I did my ¿cómo se llama? I guess my notes, I didn't look into recommendations, and I did them kind of quick porque ya tenía todo on top. Since I knew that we were gonna do this episode, estaba pensando en todo lo que había, and then the recommendations I completely forgot about them. So I don't have any recommendations for this episode, but Itzel's recommendations are good because I've watched some of the things that she's told me about. So yeah, that is it for this episode. Do you have anything else to say?
No, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We never say that. I just remember this is like a YouTube video. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you hopefully soon in the next episode. Hopefully, we keep our schedule on track. And yeah,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.